Some deals, they don't come with receipts. They come with favors. And those favors can cost more than you've ever imagined. My name is Raquel. Welcome and welcome back. We're going to get into this super messy thriller suspense book by Kiki Swinson. It's called Amber Alert. It was a regular day until it wasn't. The kids were kidnapped. The ransom, $2 million. The demand, do not contact the police. So they are in a race against time to get this $2 million so that they can get their children back. The thing is, they have to keep it quiet. So the only people who know is Ava and the housekeeper, who were there when the children were abducted, Kevin, her husband, and Kevin is friends with the largest kingpin in town. This is his best friend, and the mistress. Now, why she needs to know, I don't know, but the heifer know. So they're dealing with betrayal, deceit. They're looking at each other like, who can I trust? They don't know who kidnapped their kids. The odds are impossible, and Ava is desperate. With the clock ticking, everybody's got to do what they have to do to come up with this $2 million. This was a good book. I enjoyed this story. So, how did I feel about the book? The book was 230 pages, and I feel like it could have been longer. I feel like either it should have been a short or it should have been just a longer book. It got me from page one. Now, one of my things is I have to be pulled in as soon as possible. Otherwise, the book will just be on my DNF list. But this book pulled me in from page one. If you are familiar with Kiki Swinson, she wrote the Wifey series back in the day when urban fiction was doing all the things, giving it up. Um, and I really, really enjoyed the Wifey series. So she's transitioned into thriller and suspense. I've also read some of her thriller and suspense, and I've liked them. But I am now slowing down a bit so that I could really take in the book. And so with this book, I believe that it should have either been a short or been a much longer book. But I did enjoy it. The plot was good, the pacing was good, but the characters. So I don't feel like the characters were really fleshed out. What I saw was the characters in the moment. We really didn't get a lot of background on the characters. They gave a little bit, like, we know that Ava's an ex-con, but I would have liked to have seen her do maybe a small job, to show that she was an ex-con and then move her into her current life. They insinuated a lot that Kevin, who is her husband, was weak, but they didn't give a lot of situations or information on him being weak. It was just a recurring theme in the book. And then for the kingpin, I know he's supposed to, well, it's my assessment that he's a kingpin, and that's kind of based on the activities. But I would have just liked to see him do more kingpin activity, or maybe describe him as more menacing and, just that uh, main guy character. He didn't necessarily give alpha male character, not really. And I think the person that I know the most about, or I could give an opinion on the most, would be the mistress. And she was like a secondary character. But why do I feel like she was more of a whole, real person than the main character? So I would have definitely liked for the characters to be more realized, brought more into a full person, because I felt like we only got um, what they were in at that particular time, like during crisis mode. So Ava, she was stressed. It was high anxiety, but that was all. That was the only personality we got from her throughout the book. It did not show a softer side of her. It did not show too much of a motherly side. Not really. I think actually it kind of did the opposite as far as her being a mother. I just feel like her character was one dimensional, I guess you could say. And yeah, I would have really loved to to get to know the characters, to be more invested in them. And then as far as the story goes, I think the same thing about the story. You kind of got a couple of different situations, but they were all very surface. They were all on, basically this one thing. Like, I need some backstory. And then not only that, I need to know what happened after. Like, you don't have to write a whole nother book about what happened after, but I wanted to know, like, were the kids traumatized? Did they get any therapy? Like, were they tripping afterwards? Were they the same kids? Like, who were the kids before? Were they happy-go-lucky kids? Like, I really just didn't get that. I felt like the story with the mistress, there could have been more to that. We don't know very, like, is she a mistress or is she a side chick? Like, personally, I believe those are two different people. A mistress is a mystery. Like, she's there, but you don't know she's there. The side chick is the one in the background who wants to come to the forefront, so she's going to be making it messy. Like, who are these people? And what happened to them? She kind of only showed this situation, and I don't know, maybe it was intentional. Maybe we'll get a book two, or maybe these are characters from a previous book. I've read some of her other books, but I have not read them all, so I don't know if they are carryovers from something else. But for this to be a book on its own, it left me with a lot of questions. I don't really know if I know what the main theme of this book was. I guess I could say maybe the main theme was be careful who you trust. You could be betrayed by the ones you love. Um, Yeah, I think it's somewhere in there, but it isn't like 100% clear to me. Like, it's not, I can't just go, oh yeah, this book was, the moral of the story for this book was this. I know that there was some lies, there was deceit, there was betrayal, all of these things, but just to give one clear cut answer, I couldn't. I'm not 100% sure on what the theme of the book was, or the main purpose of the book. Um, and although I'm saying a lot of things, it really was a good book. It really was. I enjoyed it. I am reading a couple of different books. Don't judge me. And this was not my main book. But when I started just trying to see what it was about, and, reading the first couple pages just to see, if it was something I'd be interested in, I put down my main book, finished this book, and went back. That is not generally how it goes. generally what I would do is I'm reading my main book. Once I get a little tired of my main book, I'll pick up one of the side books, read a couple chapters, and then get back. That didn't happen. So it was a good book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would recommend this book to someone who likes fast paced books, who is just now starting to read, who's interested in some thriller, mystery, suspense type of book, but someone who is just getting into reading because it isn't doing too much. It doesn't have a lot going on. You can keep track of the characters. It's not hard to keep track of the characters or what's happening in the story. It's really I want to say simple, but I don't mean simple in like a negative way. I just mean that somebody who has not read a lot of books may not notice that the characters that she didn't dig really, really deep into the characters. Um, that we only got to see one side of the characters, and there were a lot of things, like even with the kidnapping. I would have liked to have experience more of the kidnapping itself, um, or what happened during the time that they were kidnapped. Just so those little things like that, um, they may not get right off, and it may not be a big deal to them right off because they're just starting to read. So that is who I would recommend it to. And if I had to give it a rating based on the video I made, um, talks about how I rate books, I would give it a 3.5. And I don't think a 3.5 is bad. I would read a 3.5. I might not be super excited to read it, but I would still read it. And this was a good book. Uh, if you have read the Wifey series, drop a book emoji in the comments. I am curious to know who was reading Kiki Swinson back in the early 2000s, late 1990s. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, see you soon.